Okay, welcome everyone to this meeting of the Swansea Bay City Region on Thursday, the 16th of November 2023. We'll begin with apologies for absence. Alison?
Yeah, apologies for absence from Emma Willett, Professor Paul Doyle and Wendy Walters and John Hatswell.
Okay, are there any other apologies that anybody wishes to present? If not, we'll take those as noted. Declarations of interest, are there any declarations anybody needs to make for any items on the agenda today? No, okay. We'll go on to the minutes of the previous meeting from the 27th of July 2023. Not been notified of any requested amendments to the minutes, so I'm happy to move those as a true record unless anybody has any questions or amendments. Can I ask for a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Simpson. Thank you, David. All happy to agree? Okay, thank you very much. I'll move then to announcements of the chair of the City Region, and my first announcement is unfortunately a very sad one. It is with sadness that I need to inform you that one of our colleagues, Hugh Mowbray, passed away recently. Many of you will have met and worked alongside Hugh. He was a great friend and colleague to many of us here, not only in Swansea, but also across the region and more widely across Wales. Hugh had worked for many years to help shape the regeneration of the city centre in Swansea, but also worked on delivery of the Swansea Bay City Deal projects and was held in very, very high esteem. Hugh's impacts on the city can already be seen today in many of the developments that he's helped to deliver and transform the city. Hugh's loss is devastating, and it comes as a huge loss to his family, his friends, his colleagues, the council, the city and the region. Our thoughts and condolences are with Hugh's family, friends and colleagues at this time. And could I ask everyone to observe a minute's silence in respect of Hugh by turning your screens off or going silent, if that would be okay. Thank you, colleagues. My next announcement is one that is more pleasant, much more pleasant, and can I formally welcome Professor Elwyn Evans to the meeting today as the replacement representative from the University of Wales Trinity St David's as our co-opted member, and welcome Elwyn as the new VC. And also,
diolch yn fawr iawn, Rob. I think that's the first time I've been described as Medwyn's replacement, but you know, I'll take it anyway.
On the board only. And secondly, can I welcome Judith Harsity as again the new replacement for Hywel Dda University Health Board and our new co-opted member. So welcome both of you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Yeah. We'll obviously go through the formal business at item 6. And we will have to ask you to leave for that item, and then we'll call you back in to the meeting. But welcome both. So we'll move now to public questions. Item 5. Have we received any questions today?
No questions today.
Okay. If we move then to item 6, and if I could ask Professor Evans and Judith Harsity to leave the meeting just for a few moments, please. And I'll go to Debbie Smith. Debbie.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, we've I know we've already introduced ourselves and all the rest of it. We need to go through the formalities. The item, agenda item number 6, seeks to formally approve 2 new co-optees to the Joint Committee to fill the vacancies that we've currently got. The details are set out in the agenda item. Number 1 Professor Elwyn Evans as a replacement for University of Wales Trinity St David's co-opted member, and Judith Hardesty as the replacement Hywel Dda University Health Board co-opted member. The details of the joint committee agreement are set out within the report. The provision there for co-opted members to be appointed for a term of 5 years. We need somebody, please, to formally move the report and to second the report, and then we'll need to vote.
Okay, thank you, Debbie. I'm very happy to move the report. Could I ask for a seconder? Thank you, David. Could I ask everyone if they're in agreement in terms of the new co-optees? You could show. Thank you very much. That's approved. Okay, if you just pause for a second, then while we invite Professor Evans and Ms. Hardesty back into the meeting. Okay.
We are, Chair. They're both back in now.
Okay, well, again, welcome formally both as our new co-opted members of the board, and we look forward to working very closely with you over the coming months and years. So welcome both. We'll now go then to item 7, which is the internal audit terms of reference. And can I ask Charlotte Hodges to come in on this item, please? Charlotte.
Yeah, Chair, it'll be me presenting it, Chair, as the head of audit for Swansea Bay City deal. But I'm more than happy to outline the report, Chair. Thanks. Morning all. The report in front of you today outlines the terms of reference for internal audit that I will be asking the Joint Committee to approve in order that the annual internal audit review of Swansea Bay City deal for 2023-24 can be undertaken. The terms of reference attached to Appendix A outlines what members of my internal audit team will focus on, and they are separately listed. But the broad areas that we will look at will cover the governance, project management, financial and risk management arrangements in place for the region. The audit is quite extensive, and this is to provide assurance to both the Section 151 officer and the Joint Committee that the existing arrangements in place remain robust in order to help deliver the Swansea Bay City Deal programme. The programme of work has also been taken through the programme board for consideration, and there was no alterations that was requested or any further work to be undertaken. In terms of timescales, I anticipate the fieldwork will begin in early January and will complete the fieldwork by March and issue our draft report. We will follow our normal reporting processes once the report has been considered by officers, and then we will bring the finalised report back to both the programme board and Joint Committee once the report has been finalised. And again, I anticipate that to be during the summer of 2024. I'm happy to take any questions, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matthew. Are there any questions or comments for Matthew on the report or what Matthew has presented? If not, then this item is for approval. So I will move the report. Could I ask for a seconder again, please? Thank you, David. Can I ask all those in favour if they could show their approval? Thank you very much. That is approved. We'll move then to, thank you very much, Matthew. We'll move then to item 8, which is the audit of accounts report. And can I welcome Jason Blewett to the meeting today? So, Jason, welcome. I'll hand over to you.
Thank you, Chair. So, yeah, this is the usual report that we provide following the completion of our audit of the City Deal's financial statements. It sets out the conclusions arising from our audit and has been agreed with officers and brought for your attention today. You'll probably see from the report it is a very positive report with very limited findings. So with that in mind, I'll just pull out some of the key points for your attention before taking any questions. So the first point is paragraph 7. We noticed some work that was outstanding at the time of drafting the report. That work is now complete, so the audit is now finished. And we're looking to provide an unqualified audit opinion once the letter of representation is provided. So those are shown for your attention in Appendix 1 and 2 of the report. There's no uncorrected misstatements that I need to report to you, so any errors we identified during the audit have been corrected by officers, and a summary of those is shown in Appendix 3. As I mentioned, if you look at Appendix 3, you'll see that it's very minor amendments that were made to narratives and disclosures. There was one amendment, which was to do with the audit fee, which, to be fair to officers, is probably our fault, given that we issued the audit plan quite late in the year. So we'll hold our hands up to that one. And there's no other matters that I need to bring to your attention. So, as I say, a really positive report. And the only thing I wanted to say is just thank, as usual, Chris and the finance team for the help and support given during the audit. So, yeah, happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Jason. Really appreciate that. And again, really good to see an unqualified position being presented. Always very positive when we get to that point. So I'll call Chris in next. Chris.
Thank you, Chair. Just to respond to Jason in respect of thanking him for getting the audit done. As you will probably recognise, to actually get any local government audit done relatively quickly this year is a good win, because there has been quite difficult capacity issues both in delivering audits and also delivering the accounts and also delivering the audits. So to get Swansea Bay City deal out of the way, for want of a better word, and to complete the audit is very much appreciated, and I appreciate Audit Wales for bringing that forward. Jason did mention the one amendment. I thank him for bringing that up, but yeah, that amendment was as a consequence of us not having the information when we actually presented the original set of accounts to the Swansea Bay City deal. So it was inevitable going to be an adjustment that came through as part of the audit. But as is always the case, to get a totally unqualified audit report is really a positive for myself leading the finance team, but also a positive for the Swansea Bay City deal. So a good result again this year. So thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. And can I, again, on behalf of the committee, thank you and the team for all the work you've done in making sure that we get to that position, and everybody who's been involved in the audit. So appreciate that. Are there any other questions or contributions? If not, this item is for information. Can I then thank Jason for your attendance today? You don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting. You are more than welcome to do so, but I'm sure you are busy. But thank you, Jason, and we'll move on to the next item.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, we'll go to item 9, which is the Joint Committee Statement of Accounts. I'll go back to Chris Moore. Chris.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, this is as a consequence of the audit. It follows nicely through. This is the post-audit statement of accounts. You will have had sight earlier on the year of the pre-audit. This is for approval, and it is quite a comprehensive document, which is dictated very much so by the SIP for guidance and the accounts and audit regulations. So there's limited scope for variation on some of the content that is put in here. It does sort of summarise the position as at the year-end 31st of March 2023. It also brings together the balance sheet items, but it also brings forward together the income and expenditure during the year. There are some main statements within the accounts that which I'll just draw your attention to in respect of the statement. Is page 14 or page 57 of the pack, where it gives a high-level summary of the budget and the outturn during the year. You will notice there that there was a slight deficit on the year, as opposed to our original surplus anticipated. This will be familiar from the budget monitoring during the year, and it gave a variance of 170,000. There are some big figures churning over within that account, and that's mainly down to the interest that we've been accruing over the last year, which wasn't expected to be the level of what it was, because obviously interest rates have shot up over the last couple of years, and certainly in the last 12 months where this statement of accounts was actually produced. And you will know that interest rates are sort of running in terms of bank rate at 5.25% at the moment. So as a consequence, the money that we're holding, we're accruing interest on. The reason why it's in deficit is it's linked to the top slicing. We are using top slicing of 1.5%. To fund the PMO office, to fund the joint committee, etc. And that was not flowing in as quickly due to the fact that the projects are a little bit behind profile in terms of the spend, and we can only release the money once the money is released to the constituent authorities. The following page, page 15 or 58, gives the balance sheet, and that sort of illustrates really the grants that we're holding, which are unapplied as of the year end, which is 51 million, which is a consequence of the flow of the money coming through from Welsh Government and UK Government that we're holding to release as soon as either expenditure is incurred or funding agreements are over the line, etc. The following pages then are really many sort of procedural pages. There is a statement of responsibilities, which you as chair are required to sign after the approval today. And the following page is a certificate from myself as the Section 151 officer or Chief Finance Officer. You then have the audit report, which Jason has recently referred to, and then you have some further statements which gives a breakdown in a lot more detail, and I won't go through them all, but I will actually highlight page 30 or 73 of the document, which summarises in far more detail the income and expenditure flows during the year. The rest of the statement then is either narrative around the notes to the accounts or a glossary of terms or some of the terminology at the end. As I said at the beginning, you do have the annual governance statement attached within there as well. But as I say at the beginning, this format should be relatively familiar to you. It's what we would have expected. It's what's been concluded as being the post-audit report, and subject to the approval today, both myself and you as chair will sign the document off and complete that financial year. So I'll take any questions if there are any, Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. And just from me a little bit to add to what you said, again, not unusual for us to see a lag in terms of the deployment of capital into the projects. We are blessed in that we have all of our 9 programmes and projects live, and Jonathan Burns has previously given us an update in terms of the live delivery elements that sit underneath that headline figure. But again, as you say, whilst there is a little bit of a timing issue in terms of deployment of that capital funding, it does allow us to make a small additional benefit in terms of the investments, that the money that we're holding to offset other pressures. So again, not entirely a difficult position, but of course we still remain committed to getting those projects fully completed as quickly as possible. So thank you for that, Chris. Really appreciate it. I'll open it up if anybody else has got any comments or questions on any of the items that Chris covered in his report.
And just a point on the interest, Chair, is that interest, as per our policy, will be redistributed back to the constituent authorities for them to apply back at the individual authorities.
Great, thank you, Chris. Okay, I'll happily move the report. Could I ask for a seconder again then, please? Thank you, David. And could I ask all those to show if they're in favour of the report? Thank you very much. That is carried. So next we'll go then to the letter of representation. Chris, again, back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. This is a letter of representation that goes off to the auditor post the completion of the audit. It actually is signed again by yourself, Chair, and myself, and it actually confirms that that we have taken our responsibilities as a organisation or as an authority appropriately. We have given full access to all the accounting records. We have given full access to any information that we know over fraud or potential fraud or misappropriation of anything, and we have been totally open with the auditor. And anything that has actually occurred post balance sheet date has also been included within that. So pretty standard letter. I have no qualms over signing it, and it will be signed subject to approval here today after the meeting by yourself or myself.
Okay, thank you for that explanation, Chris. Again, this item is just for noting, it's for information, so no vote on this item. Thank you, Chris. So we'll move then to item 11, which is the Support and Innovation and Low Carbon Growth Programme, the change request to incorporate the National Net Zero Skills Centre of Excellence into that project. So, Lisa, I'll go over to you.
Good morning.
Can
Thank
I-
you, Chair. Can I, Nicola Pearce will introduce it, then I'll run through some slides, if that's okay. Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, not wishing to overcomplicate things. Is that okay, Chair?
Yeah, of course. Sorry, Nicola. Apologies.
That's okay. We're doing a bit of a triple act today. So Lisa is here as the project lead, or programme lead, I should say. And we're also joined by Jane Lewis, who you'll be aware is the lead on the Skills and Talent project. That is a regional project for the City Deal. You have kindly given us authorisation to pursue the development of an outline business case to develop a skills academy, which will support the other projects within our Supporting Innovation and Low Carbon Growth programme, but it will also support the ambitions of the Skills and Talent group. And as I say, they are intrinsically linked. So Lisa is going to take you through a presentation which will identify the rationale for this project, what the additionality is, what the benefits are, and how it will address some of the issues that we're experiencing within our area in terms of skills. Jane will hopefully help us out in terms of the linkages with the Skills and Talent project, and we'll also run through some projects that are being delivered elsewhere that are achieving the similar objectives to us. So without further nonsense from me, I will hand over to Lisa, who can give you all the technical detail. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicola. Good morning. So thank you for giving us the opportunity to present the change to include the National Net Zero Skills Centre of Excellence into the already approved Advanced Manufacturing Production Facility, which forms part of the Supporting Innovation and Low Carbon Growth City Deal funded programme, which includes 7 interrelated projects. I'm not going to talk through all of the business case. We've picked out some key elements to inform your approval of the decision for the change. And in terms of the rationale and need for the Skills Centre of Excellence, so we originally have approved the Advanced Manufacturing Production Facility, which is looking at the proving factory concept to ensure that there's facilities to commercialise products. And then as we've been developing that project, a lot of industry input, for example, Industry Wales and lots of our businesses that we deal with on a day-to-day basis have advised us that there's a lack of skills provision in South West Wales to meet the future needs of industry. For example, flow, there's a significant amount of jobs linked to flow in terms of, well, approximately 33,000 jobs. There's also the Celtic Freeport opportunity, which is looking at net zero skills. The Regional Learning and Skills Partnership have carried out a survey last year linked to the barometer and looking at significant gaps in skills provision to actually ensure our regional workforce has appropriate skills for these opportunities to come forward. And also in October this year, the Skills and Talent Project carried out a piece of work looking at the skills needs. So this change request is looking to incorporate the National Centre of Excellence for Net Zero Skills into the Advanced Manufacturing Production Facility as a co-located project. In terms of the rationale and need, we've got Jane Lewis on the call with us, who will talk you through how this proposal aligns to the Skills and Talent and also the Regional Learning and Skills project in terms of an industry-led skills facility. So Jane, I wonder if I can call you in at this slide, please.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Yes, the Skills and Talent programme is very much about developing the new skills that we need in the region for the future development of all our industries, and especially the new ones around energy. And this facility very much would address that need around both the manufacturing, but development of the skills opportunities that would enhance other businesses, hopefully across the region, not just in Neath and Talbot. As you're aware, within our programme, we are targeted to look at increasing the levels of skills for all across the region, but also developing that centre of excellence. And this is what I think this project would actually bring to this region, that centre of excellence, that centre of knowledge, that we could attract other people and other businesses to invest in our region, because we would be developing the right skills for those businesses in our area. Obviously, we know that there are many issues that we are facing at the moment, but we can develop those skills that we already have in the region to transfer them into these new industries that we are going to generate in the region. And obviously this facility would also offer that apprenticeship opportunity, because by working together with industry, we could bring those offers to upskill them into the skills that we need for those industries to develop here. And we're often looking at tackling some of the inequalities, perhaps, is what's already being delivered to what actually industry needs. And by having an industry-led facility like this, we could address those very easily. So from our perspectives, from both the skills and talent and from the regional skills partnership and the investment that we've done with working with businesses, I think this would really meet our needs for the region, and would potentially make us unique in Wales as well. Sorry. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jane. And to add to what Jane said, this is looking to complement and not duplicate current further education, higher education provision in the region. So in terms of scoping the facility and the opportunity to co-locate the manufacturing facility with the skills training, we're doing extensive research and looking at good practice. So we're looking at some case studies from across the UK and also in Ireland to look at how we can ensure that the facility we're going to be constructing with the City Deal funding is specific to industry needs. And we've done extensive consultation, and we continue to consult as we're developing the scope. We're learning lessons and also making sure the key point from industry is that co-location of the skills with the manufacturing experience is essential. And there's a potential to have a phased approach to this facility. So this for the City Deal will be phase 1 of the skills, and then we're looking to potentially secure additional funding, both public and private, to do a phased approach under phase 2 and 3. In terms of engagement, and to ensure that we don't duplicate current and pipeline provision, we've carried out extensive consultation. We've had letters of support, which have been appended to your information pack. We've had letters of support from Industry Wales, from Further Education, Higher Education, Net Zero Industry Wales, the South Wales Industrial Cluster, Freeport, and as I say, there's ongoing engagement. And we've also linked in with UK government and Welsh government, and they provided some pointers to add on to our engagement going forward. And thanks to Swansea University for supporting us with the economic case for this outline business case. In terms of the context for the vision, so the vision of the low carbon growth programme is to deliver low carbon, sustainable and inclusive economic growth for the region. There are a number of 3 objectives for this facility, supporting the delivery of the low carbon growth programme, also delivering industry-led green skills aligned to what Jane has just said. Objective 3 is also to establish a central hub for national research development innovation activity, and this will be delivered by 2027. This logic model shows you how the inputs will lead to the impact of this change request in terms of the amount of City Deal funding, which is 5.3 million in addition to the programme. That will create an extra 1,000 metres squared of training facilities. This will lead to an additional 15 jobs, 29 jobs accommodated, 50 training courses delivered per year, and approximately 3,500 individuals trained. Also leveraging in public sector and private sector, and then leading to a sustainable skilled workforce, meeting the impacts that are outlined in the City Deal, and also our regional economic delivery plans as a region. Just click. So as I mentioned, there are 3 investment objectives, which are in your information pack. I'm conscious of time. In terms of the additional leverage that this facility will create, we've already secured, in partnership with Swansea University, Cardiff University, University of South Wales, an additional £5 million linked to the place-based impact acceleration account, which is going to be launched in January. We had the inception meeting yesterday. There's also the launch pad, which is the net zero launch pad. In terms of linking in with Shared Prosperity Fund, Swansea University have secured just under £1 million for the Switch On Skills delivery. And then in addition, we're looking to secure additional UK research investment funding linked to this facility. This, I mentioned in the initial slides, is linked to ensuring that the region has the skilled workforce to ensure we take advantage of current and pipeline investments in terms of the Freeport's also flow. In terms of a timeline, this report is for approval from a joint committee for this change request. We've briefed UK and Welsh Government, and then UK and Welsh Government will be signing off this change request mid-December. So I'm going to stop sharing, and Nicola, Jane and I are quite happy to take questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Nicola, and all for your contributions there. As you referenced, I think it's important that we support this change request. It has been discussed as this was being worked up at programme board, and of course via the leaders discussions previously. So again, in terms of making sure that we allocate all of the resources into the necessary projects, I think it's an important change for us to support. So again, I'm very grateful for you bringing this here today and for the additional information that's been presented. But I'll open it out now for questions and comments. Professor Elwyn Evans first, please. Elwyn.
You're probably not going to be surprised to hear from me on this one. I'm concerned that my university, University of Wales Trinity St David's, has been very involved in a lot of the building side of this city deal suite of activities, but we don't seem to feature in what, to me, is probably one of the most obvious places for us to support the project. You know, as a university, we've got the biggest number of degree apprenticeships. Obviously, I'm not doing a sales pitch here of any university in Wales. We're closely linked, of course, with other FE colleges within our group. So I really hope that the change in leadership, there's Barry Lyles, who I think was on the board, Medwyn having gone, does not mean that we are not plugged into somewhere where I'm very actively looking in terms of our strategic direction. So I think there's an awful lot that we can do in supporting and helping this aspect. So can I just suggest that perhaps if you reach out to me in the first instance, we can make sure that we plug in appropriately, because I'd hate to think that we were almost competing with each other, which is a little bit how it's sounding at the moment. And I obviously don't want us to be doing that.
Yeah, thank you, Elwyn. Absolutely, and I'm sure I could see a lot of nods when you were saying that. But I'll go back to Nicola first before I come to Steve.
Thank you, Chair. Professor Evans, that is not our intention to compete with you, nor to leave you out of the loop. We had a very tight timescale to put the outline business case in place and to deliver the project, hopefully, once we've secured approval from both governments. Now, there are a lot more organisations that we need to engage with throughout this process, not just at the beginning, but throughout this process, to make sure it's effective and it is genuinely achieving additionality and complementing the other academic courses that are available within the area. So we will most definitely be engaging with you and trying to build on the work that you're already providing, and hopefully we will get your support into ensuring that this Centre of Excellence actually achieve the objectives that we think and know that it will achieve. So please don't think that we're trying to compete. That is definitely not the case. Thank you.
I'm really, really grateful. Thank you. But this absolutely is our area. That skills delivery is what we are and where we are. So thank you very, very much.
Okay, thank you. Steve, with your indulgence, I'll just bring Lisa in, because I assume Lisa wants to come in on this point as well. Lisa?
we engaged. We had site visits on the SA1 campus with the Trinity St David in terms of ensuring there was no duplication as we developed it. We met with Barry Lyles and Jane on campus. So we will continue to do that engagement to ensure we add value and do not duplicate. But thank you for that. We look forward to engaging with you further.
Yeah, I think the point I'm making, thanks very much, is of course Barry's left some while ago now. I'm developing a whole new strategy, and actually an awful lot of it is mapping onto what I hadn't realised was going on here. My fault, of course, but thank you.
No problem at all. I think, look, I mean, we've demonstrated continuously the need for really good collaboration and cooperation between the parties. I think Elwyn's quite right to raise the question about how does this all come together to make sure we're not duplicating, we're not competing, but we are maximising the opportunities that we have through the work that's going on, and because of the expertise that the partners have in this region. So absolutely right, Elwyn, and I'm sure we'll make sure that is all addressed as we take this forward. Steve, I'll come to you.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. Lisa and Nicola and yourself have covered that. I was going to say about duplication. I mean, it was a short time frame, and trying to reach partners, an awful lot more partners that need to be brought into this. I mean, the goal is clear, and the report is self-explanatory, and it's an excellent report. I just want to thank everyone who was involved in bringing this together, because as you would know, Rob, and other leaders on the call, our officers are under extreme pressure with an awful lot of work that's going on, and that's why partners are so critical. And certainly the universities, as has already been said. I just wanted to say that obviously the goals that we need to meet with the Net Zero Skills Centre of Excellence and in the report about the free ports and other aspects of GCRE skill sets are going to be critical, and we need to get it right. But I think this report and what has been put into this shows that sometimes we lose sight of when funding, we're all asking for funding, obviously, for all sorts of reasons, whether it's with the city deal or CJSCs, etc. It shows that money spent well can make a difference. And I think this report and what this will achieve going forward will demonstrate that. And I'm fully supportive, and I'm sure all members on the call will be. But I think the last thing I'll say, and I know Darren got his hand up, we mustn't lose sight of the region as well when delivering our objectives and programmes. And I'm sure that this report, as highlighted by Lisa, Nicola, will do that. I have no doubt whatsoever. So I just want to make those few points, because I'm quite excited by this opportunity. And again, I'm grateful to the officers and everyone involved in bringing this here today and putting this together. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. I'll go to Darren next. Darren.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. And Steve has taken the words out of my mouth. So that's exactly the point I was making. Clearly, from my point of view, I'm more than happy to support this. I'm grateful for the work that officers in Neath Talbot for the groundwork that they've done on this. But clearly, there'll be benefits for us as a region, isn't it? You know, and while the focus here is clearly a Neath Talbot-led project, and we've been supportive of the Celtic Freeport bids. As you know, Chair, clearly we've got aspirations in Carmarthenshire and Swansea as well on this agenda, in terms of developing low carbon industries. So I certainly see it as a benefit for the region. And I suppose building on the point that Elwyn mentioned there in terms of that collaboration and the linking in with different FE and HE institutions, I'm looking forward really to see the detail around the 50 training courses that you outlined in the presentation, which will no doubt come in good time. But I see it as a positive step forward, and look forward to seeing the detail in due course. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, colleagues. Is there anybody else who wishes to make a comment or contribution or has a question? If not, then I'm happy to move the report. Could I ask one of my colleagues if they're prepared to second, please? Thank you, David. And can I ask all those in favour if they can show their approval, please? Okay, thank you very much. That is approved. Thank you, colleagues. We'll move then to item 12, which is the financial monitoring for Q2. Chris, I'll come back to you.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, this is the update based on September figures. It's in the normal format that we receive, and if I take you straight to Appendix A, which is the summary of the main sort of elements that change on a quarterly or a monthly basis, you have a variance there of 285,000. There's a number of components within that. So you have the main part of the expenditure around the Programme Management Office, which there's a slight underspend there, which is to be expected because we've at the moment we're holding one post vacant within the team, and there's some underspends on other areas, but that helps with the situation. Overall, you then have the accountable body function there, and in particular you have the interest that we referred to previously in respect of the statement of accounts for the previous year, but obviously that figure is bigger this year because of what we're anticipating happening with the interest rate. So there's 1.5 million there which will get redistributed out and is shown later down in the accounts and get redistributed out to the constituent authorities. Most of the other expenditure is, as to be expected, lowish overall, bringing back, as I said, to a smaller deficit than anticipated of 73,000. That will roll forward and be taken off the balance that we're carrying forward. It is worth noting that the contributions that have now been drawn in respect of the top slicing has lifted up a little bit from the 723, which was the original anticipated amount to 760,000. That will continue over the coming future years. And the other thing worth noticing now, which actually does make a difference to the funding as we're going forward, we have no longer got partner contributions coming in. We were having partner contributions for the first 5 years of the city deal of 50,000 per partner, which was 400,000 in the year. That's now run its course, and therefore there will be some discussion going forward as to how we fund the activity going forward for however many years we need this within the original 15-year period that the Swansea Bay City deal is sort of anticipated to run in terms of the programme delivery. So the balances carried forward have also been adjusted as a consequence of the reference was made to that small amendment in the audit fees that came into the accounts. That has been amended as part of those carry forward figures there, brought forward and carry forward figures there at the bottom of the statement there. The other part of the report, there's two other fundamental parts. And the first one is the overall provisional portfolio investment outturn, which is over the period of time, and that is at the top of page 432 of the of our committee papers today. That's indicating that our original plan was that we would have a revised budget of £1.247 billion as being the total investment. That's slightly increased to £1.279 billion. So there's a £31 million variation there. Obviously, the 9 projects have got a long path to travel before that's concluded, so that will vary, but we're trying to monitor that as it goes forward. And then the following page, then 434, summarises the annual expectation and based on the Q2 provisional position. And you can see that the investment is slightly down there on what was anticipated. The original anticipation was 187 million. We're down to 148 million. And there's a statement there of the variations. There's two where the investment is greater than expected, and there's the rest are slightly lower. The two that are greater are the Pembroke Dock Marine project and the Swansea Waterfront project, but given a net variance there of 39 million. Very difficult to get any capital project, and especially capital projects this size, where they actually sit in any one financial year, and I think that is to be expected. So I'd be very surprised if we didn't have variations on these tables anyway, because It's about delivering the whole project, and the whole project slips for or moves for various reasons and complications, as we all know. So I won't try and go into all those complications, but overall the position is we're managing the position and we're navigating through it, so there's no real issue there as such, but it brings you up to date in terms of where we are with the finances. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. That was really helpful and clear. Again, as you've alluded to, the underspend or the reprofiling is a lot less than we had originally proposed or been told. So again, progress has been made on that, but it's not unusual for large projects and spend like this to slip outside of the initial profile. The key thing being that the projects remain on track and are still delivering both the jobs, the GVA, and the impacts that they were originally set up to deliver. So in terms of that, Chris, really appreciate the update, and I'll open it up to colleagues if anybody's got any questions or comments they'd like to make. Darren, yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I think on the capital side, I think that's understood, and we're aware from previous reports in terms of the sort of inflationary pressures that we've all faced on certain projects. But just focusing on the revenue side and picking up on the point that Chris made in terms of the portfolio management office costs in terms of staffing. Clearly, this is something we've discussed previously, and I'm just mindful of the fact that the Wales Audit Office reports on the CJCs, which were published this week, which is linked to this, have been published. I think we need to progress on that front and move those discussions forward, really, in terms of what happens between that link between the CJC and the Swansea Bay City deal. It was something that was discussed a few weeks ago at the session with the OECD, of course, which had been commissioned by the Welsh Government to look at the effectiveness of CJC structures. So I just want to flag that, really. I think we need to move ahead with that. And I'm mindful that over the next few weeks, we'll be having discussions with regards to the CJC budget. So I think we need to press ahead to get that alignment. I know it's something we have discussed previously, but I do think it's at the point where we need to make a decision. Jeff.
Yeah, thank you, Darren, and take the points in terms of alignment. I think that's in all our interests to do that, and I think that is our proposed way forward in that respect. For the city deal as a set of projects is time limited. CJCs are a national structure and therefore are not limited, and of course the regeneration and economic elements of the CJC, the city deal only forms a very small part of the overall picture of everything that we're all doing as part of economic regeneration in our region. So yeah, but the aspects around how we align what we do here with the skills agenda, with the broader education agenda, with the economic agenda, all of those things are things that we've got an opportunity to really ensure are very well aligned as part of the CJC arrangements. Chris, we'll come back to you.
Yeah, just come in there and just follow up on that. I think Darren makes some very valid comments, and that is what I'm certainly hoping that's going to come out of some of the discussions over the next 2 months that have recently been set up. But I think the one challenge that we have going forward is navigating through it, where perhaps there's opportunities of working far closer together, but also recognizing that the legislation of the two elements are totally different, and we will have to have those two effective legal bodies as separate bodies unless they sort out the legislation in Cardiff. So and obviously the Swansea Bay City deal is for a defined period of 15 years, and we're quite well into that. But there's certainly opportunity, and there's a must, because actually what I'm highlighting really is that the funding is limited on this city deal, and obviously the funding will, when we talk about the CJC, the funding will be limited in terms of what capacity local authorities got to put the levy up as well. So there's good opportunity here, and we just need to discuss it over the next couple of weeks, whilst recognising that the legislation are two bits of legislation, and we're going to have some of the things like the accounts still produced separately, which has some unfortunate issues, but that's the reality of the legislation, really.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Darren. I'm mindful of time, colleagues, so if there aren't any more questions or comments, I'm going to go and move the report. Could I ask for a seconder, please? Thank you. All those in favour? Good show. Thank you very much. That is agreed. Now, our final two items are for information only. We only have 9 minutes left, Ian, unfortunately, for the two items there. So if I could ask you just to be quite brief with these items. Apologies that we don't have a longer time frame for today's meeting. Ian, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. That's no problem. They're fairly brief reports anyway. The first one is the quarterly monitoring report for the portfolio. The detailed information is in your packs today. As usual, it consists of the dashboard, the RAG status for each of the projects, the milestones achieved, key activities planned, the benefits register, procurement pipeline, and the update on the Gateway Action Plan as well. As far as the dashboard is concerned, there's no change to the overall program or project status ratings. They're the same as the last quarter, apart from PDM. That's moved now from amber to green across its 4 areas of scope: staffing, finance, and stakeholder engagement. So that's moved from amber to green rating. With reference to the portfolio risks, there are now 6 red risks across the portfolio, a reduction from 8 in the last quarter. The significant one to report on there is the risk around private sector contributions not being realised. This is reduced from red to amber. That's in line with the projects and programmes mainly reporting green or amber ratings for private sector funding across the board. So the portfolio risk has been adjusted in line with that. The portfolio is currently reporting 1 red issue. There's no change since the last quarter. As far as benefits are concerned, increase in jobs created from 542 to 550 due to increases in the HAPS and digital infrastructure projects. The procurement pipeline, there's been minor changes there as detailed in the report. Just some very brief headline activities for the projects and programmes. With PDM, the PAR review, gateway review is completed with an amber-green rating. PDI is largely completed now on site. Campuses, the secondary funding agreement has been issued to the Swansea Bay Health Board and has been progressed. HAPS has secured £75,000 of funding to enable foundational work to be undertaken with schools and colleges. Low carbon, the switch project is in the process of completing concept design to REBA stage 2. The PDF support is being offered to applicants through stage 2 of the process, and these Port Talbot are considering a round 2 launch at the end of this year. Pentrawl construction's continuing, and 2 strategic Pentrawl projects have been awarded SPF funding. Digital infrastructure achieved an amber-green gateway review and is now they have now finalised signatories on the collaboration agreements with local authority partners. As far as waterfront is concerned, there was also an amber-green gateway review for the Trinity project elements. 71-72 Kingsway scheduled for completion at the end of January 2024. Eregin held its 5-year celebration event, and the university has begun drafting the change notification for the Eregin Phase 2 project. And finally, skills, there's 14 pilot project applications now approved by RLSP and are in delivery. And just a final thing to note, Chair, there's a Carmarthenshire Meet the City Deal event in Eregin on Monday, the 27th of November. There's lots of other things happening, Chair, but those are the brief headlines and activities with the monitoring report.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ian. As you say, a huge amount of work still going on. Good to see the red risks reducing as well as the good outcomes in terms of some of the reviews. So again, I appreciate you being really fast going through that update. Are there any questions or comments for Ian? If not, we will just note that one. Thank you very much, Ian, and then go to our final item, which is the update on the GVA evaluation.
Yes, thank you, Chair. At the outset of the City deal, GVA was set as one of the main headline investment objectives, along with jobs and investment. It was recognised by the PMO that GVA is a macroeconomic measure, and there are many difficulties in using this metric at a project level. So back in May, the PMO submitted a paper to governments which identified the problems with measuring and attributing GVA at the programme and project level.
Ian, apologies to jump in there. Unfortunately, myself and my chief executive will have to leave because I need to chair the next meeting, which is Cabinet in Swansea Council. So could I ask one of my other leader colleagues to assume the chair just for the remaining item, if that's okay? Could I ask for a volunteer from?
Yeah, I'm happy to do it, Chair.
Thank you, Darren. Appreciate it. Apologies, colleagues. We have to leave for the Cabinet meeting. Thank you all very much. See you soon.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Jeff Rob. Carry on.
Okay, thank you, Chair. The paper contained recommendations to remove GVA as a monitoring measure of the portfolio and to use alternative metrics to demonstrate economic impact. So a letter of confirmation has now been received. It's in Appendix A in your packs. It's been received from government, acknowledging the issues and confirming that there's no government requirement to directly track and associate GVA with the City deal portfolio. The use of alternative and appropriate smart economic metrics are advised. The PMO are advised to track regional GVA through published ONS data, and the calculation of GVA will still remain valid within the economic appraisal at business case level to demonstrate the rationale for intervention and the estimated impact on projects and programmes. So in terms of a way forward for the portfolio, there's a monitoring and evaluation task and finish group that has been formed by project leads to develop an evaluation framework to measure the outcomes and impacts of the projects. The selection and definition of appropriate smart economic metrics will be a key output of the framework, and economic impact will be measured and attributed to the City deal projects. So it's a full information report, Chair, just to note the confirmation of government that we're not required to monitor and attribute GVA, and to note that the PMO will work with projects and programmes to develop alternative and smart economic metrics for monitoring and evaluation going forward. Thank you.
Right, thanks, Ian. So there are some clear follow-up questions arising from that. So I suppose in terms of timescales, clearly the alternative metrics is something that's being discussed at the moment. Yeah. When would we expect a report back, I suppose, to us as a joint committee, just to confirm those metrics? That's the first question. And I suppose in terms of the monitoring, the posts created is something we get reported anyway, isn't it? You know, and that was one of the outcomes set out at the initial stage. So that will continue. There's no problem there. But I suppose the key question is, in terms of the alternatives to the GVA, when would we expect that to be reported back to us? That would be my first question, Jeff.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. The task and finish group will meet until December. As a result of that, an evaluation framework will be produced that will be taken through City deal governance with the appropriate metrics defined in that framework. So hopefully in the new year, Chair, that information will come forward through Programme Board and Joint Committee.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Ian. Are there any further questions or comments on this point from anybody? Apologies, they're drilling in County Orling, Carmarthen, so that's the noise in the background. So if there aren't any further comments, then it's just for noting, isn't it? There's no need for a formal vote on that. So if members are happy, Thank you for your time. We will speak again shortly. Diolch yn fawr, that's the end of the meeting. Diolch yn fawr. Thank you.
Oh, everybody, see you, da.